Okay, my name is Ken Story. I've been a full-time agent at Hometown for 16 years, and that's long enough to have gone through the crazy 2004 to 2006 market, which is the closest we've had to what you're experiencing right now. And as I said earlier when I first logged on with John, you're probably seeing multiple offers right now, and that's it's not a bad thing. And particularly if you're selling, but don't confuse this crazy market with multiple offers and selling in 2 or 3 days with hard work and ethics and skill, because this is crazy. This too shall pass. So work hard the whole time, and it will benefit you, because this is silly what's happening. And just get the listings and sell them. And if you're the buyer agent, hopefully get some deals under your belt with escalation clauses. So, John, my screen went, oh, there we go. No, okay. It might have just been automatically going black. So anyway, I'm assuming everybody has either used or fallen victim to an escalation clause in a real estate contract. I've got you all unmuted so that you can ask questions or comment as we go along. We'll only mute it if we get a lot of background noise. So I guess a show of yeses, can everybody tell me if they've seen escalation clauses or used them?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Okay. All right. So since I've gotten one no, I'm going to explain it a little bit. An escalation clause is a way to make an offer on a property that raises your offer, hopefully in an effort to beat the next competing offer. Let's say a house comes on the market and it's listed at $250,000. Well, up until recently, you guys, if you're a buyer agent working with a buyer, you might have offered 240 and hope to come to settle at 245. Well, in this crazy market, you might very well be offering 250 and then find out that you didn't get it. And you're like, why not? Well, somebody else offered 250 with an escalation clause to beat the next highest offer by $500. And there are forms you need to use to do that, and I've got two examples. One is a form that Hometown Realty has. I just pulled this out of the form folder on the second floor of the Mechanicsville office. I'm assuming all the other offices have it as well. And the other way is to write it into the contract itself. So with that being said, John, if you will put up my stuff and we will start talking about it.
Here it comes.
All right, this first is the Hometown Realty escalator clause, multiple offer clause. And you can just scroll up a little bit, John, so people can see it. I just put 1, 2, 3, 4 Banana Street in it. And basically what it says is, you can read here, that we're going to increase by $500 over the purchase price set forth by the highest bona fide written offer received by the seller, net seller concessions not to exceed $255,000. All right. So let's say I made an offer for 250 and somebody else makes an offer for 251. Well, this means my offer is really 251,500. It also says that I stop at 255, so I have a cap on how high I'm willing to go. You'll also note that it says net seller concessions. So if somebody else makes an offer for 260,000 but wants $10,000 back for points, prepaids, or closing costs, that's really a $250,000 offer. So my $250,000 offer might go to $250,500. It's very important that if you don't use this form and you just write it into the contract, you put that in there. Or what you'll find is somebody else made an offer for 260 but asked for $10,000 back for points, prepaids, or closing costs, and the seller agent's going to say, "No, your offer is 255." You didn't put net after concessions. You just said, $500 more than the next up to 255. So even though they offered 260 with 10 back, and you and I both know that's the same thing as 250, they're going to say 255. So make sure you put in there that's the net amount, or you'll end up paying 255 for a house you really should have paid 250, 500. And that's $4,500 of your client's money that you wasted because you didn't write the right thing in there.
Ken,
Yes.
can I ask a quick question? Do you mind after this is over if I send them your document as a sample?
Not at all. It's fine
Great.
with me. Fine with me. All right. And note that it's a bona fide written offer. Listing firm shall provide selling firm with a copy of the highest bona fide written offer. That's very important that you want to see it so you know that they didn't make something up. Not that this industry would have some unscrupulous people who would do something to net more money to their client just without really showing you that they had something to back it up. But it's always nice to see that what they got was a real deal offer. I always put in mind that I want to see the pre-qualification letter or the proof of funds as well. So just because they got an offer for $260,000 or $253,000, if they didn't get a pre-qualification letter, that's not a good offer, because that doesn't mean those people can really buy it. I want to make sure they really can. And if you all haven't seen that kind of stuff yet, you will at some point in your career. People who make offers on behalf of buyers and they have not gone out and gotten them pre-qualified yet. And then they find out, oops, they really can't make that deal. When you say, look, I'll be happy to present this contract to my seller, but I need a pre-qualification letter to go with it before we'll even consider it. And then you get a call 24 hours later that says, oh, I'm really sorry. I thought they were pre-qualified, but when I went to get the letter and we went and talked to BB&T, finds out they're not good for 253. They're only good for 240, so we're going to have to rescind our offer. All right. I actually had somebody one time submit to me a cash offer. And when I asked for proof of funds, it turned out the person was in bankruptcy, and the $1,000 good faith deposit check that they gave the realtor bounced.
Wow.
So it's crazy what realtors will do out there. And of course, I'm saying to the realtor, how could you not, if you're doing cash offers, not see proof of funds before you're writing contracts, Well, I'm new in the business, blah, 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 blah. All right, let's scroll on up. All right, that's the Hometown Realty form. That would go with your purchase contract when you submit the offer. All right. Another thing I highly recommend in this very competitive market is that you write a letter. Have any of y'all had any experience with writing a letter to the seller by the buyer about how much they love the house and want the house?
No.
No, not yet.
Not done it, not seen it?
I've seen him write them to me
I
before.
have heard about it, but haven't done it.
All right. I highly recommend it. All right. In this competitive market. And this is going to sound sexist, but I'm going to say it anyway. Women in the selling transaction are moved by that. All right. More so than the men, in my opinion, but it does make a difference. I had a case one time where I had a house I was selling, and both of them put in escalation clauses. One went to 255, 500. One went to 255 even. The one that went to 255 even, they wrote this really nice letter about how much they loved the house and how much they could see homeschooling in the house because the woman homeschooled her children. Well, the people who were selling it were homeschoolers. And if you walked through the house and knew anything about homeschooling, you could tell that the people who were selling the house were homeschoolers. If you've ever homeschooled, there's certain materials, certain setups of the classroom area in the house that you know these people homeschool their kids. All right. And so when the wife got that letter, man, she's like, I want those people to own my house. She didn't care that it was a $500 less offer. She wanted those people to have her house, and the husband could not convince her that it was a $500 difference. She's like, I don't care. I want that. Those people to have my house. All right. So we took an offer that was actually $500 less than the highest and best offer in terms of cash, because the woman was really won over by the heartfelt letter that the other couple had written. And so if you're not doing that to support yourself and your chances of getting the deal, you're not doing everything you can do, because it does work. All right. If you don't use this kind of form that Hometown Realty provides, you can scroll up, John. You can do it right into the contract itself. Keep on going to where you see the dollars and cents on the page 1 of the purchase agreement. All right. And this is how I do it. You can do it any way you want. You stop there, John. I write right next to the price offer, in this case, $250,000. I put a little asterisk, and then I see paragraph 23. See paragraph 23. If you don't know what paragraph 23 is in the purchase contract, it is the other terms or other category, and we can scroll on up to that. So then you go down here, and then this is where I handwrite in basically what I've just talked about in that firm. Purchaser will increase the offer by $500 of the next highest competing offer up to there, and then I had to even add in there a net maximum price of $255,000. $255,000. And seller will provide a copy of competing offer and purchaser pre-qualification or proof of funds prior to ratification of final sales price. Net maximum sales price refers to contract price less concessions, closing costs, and warranties. Because yes, got a question?
Yeah. So when we're talking about this net maximum price, I've got a buyer that's qualified for $225, but we need $5,700 in closing costs. Can we make that offer for $30,000 or $230,700, or do we need to make it for $225 and ask for the $5,700 of closing costs?
That's a question for a mortgage person about how to do it. Personally, and I'm not a mortgage person, I think you need to make it for $225 less the $5,700. All right. All right. If the mortgage person says no, if you make it for $230,700 and get $5,700 back, and we're actually just financing $225, that works, then I do the $230,700. Okay. Because that means the net to the seller is always the $225 number. All right. And if you ask for a home warranty that's $500, that comes off that, again, using the example of $260 less $10,000. If you also ask for a $500 home warranty, what you've really offered is $249,500. All right. And when you do, yes.
And also on that, wouldn't you have to be a little concerned about whether it would appraise at the higher number?
Absolutely. Absolutely. When you're doing these escalation clauses, you got to wonder if it's going to appraise at the higher number. It's a good point, John. In this silliness that we've experienced recently, I haven't had any problem with properties appraising at higher numbers. One of the things I'll also point out when you do these steps, I've just used $500 as an example here. I have seen them as small as $50, and I have seen them as high as $10,000. All right. So when you're in $10,000 steps, you're obviously doing a very expensive property. All right, but you want it and you don't want to lose it. As I tell my buyers who are thinking about this, if you were to find out that you could have had this property for $10,000 more than the one that you're about to offer, if you'd only offered $10,000 more, would you do it? And if they say yes, then I go, well, we need to do an escalation clause. All right. And And just because I used the example before about the letter having an impact, it could be other things. So make sure that the amount of your steps, as I call it, is enough to sway the deal. You know, in that situation I said about the wife being swayed by the homeschool issue, had it been $1,000 difference, she might not have done it. But because it was $500 and we were at 250,000, which was their full asking price anyway, plus a little more, that $500 didn't really sway her that much. Had it been $1,000, had it been $2,500, she may have been a little bit swayed. Plus, if you're representing the seller on this and you're advising them on which contract that they should accept, you need to, I always try to be very unbiased, and I use a legal pad and I just write at the top, let's say I have 4 offers. I write 1, 2, 3, 4, and then do 4 columns. And then we go through the contracts and we sit there and just write down very basic what the terms are. And we come down to the bottom line. One of the things I always put down there is that an FHA or VA financing. You all have done deals. You know that the FHA appraiser and the VA appraiser can dictate repairs above and beyond a home inspection. All right. The home inspector didn't ask for those windowsills to be scraped and painted because he knew it was cosmetic paint issues, but the FHA and the VA appraisers can dictate that has to be done. So there may be a difference in whether or not, you know, if you got 2 offers that are the same, or one offers $500 more than the other, but it's FHA and the other one's conventional, and you know you've got a bunch of peel and paint, you know, it might be worth $500 of your hassle to take the conventional for $500 less. All right. So keep all that in mind. I actually had a deal that I successfully did an Escalation. The house was $495,000 and we offered $500,000 with an escalation clause of $5,000 more than the next offer, up to $525,000. And there was a competing offer also with an escalation clause, and they went up to $540,000. And the seller picked us, $15,000 less than the other offer. The reason she picked us is my buyer was my senior minister, and my church is on television every Sunday. And she watched him on TV every single Sunday, and she recognized the name. And she went, I want my preacher to own my house and live in my house. Plus she was getting $30,000 more than she asked for it. So another 15 didn't mean diddly to her, really, as much as she could say, Dr. Peter James Flaming was going to move into my house. She was so, and boy, I'm telling you, the other realtor, who was Woody Hogg, was out of his mind mad. All right? How could they not take my offer?
I love Dr. Flaming.
Well, I helped sell his house, and I helped him buy his retirement house.
Oh,
And
awesome.
he lives in Forest Lake in Hanover County. So anyway, you don't, when you're advising, let them decide what they want. It may not, I always, not my money, it's your money. What do you want to do? I'm just here to tell you what the terms are and make sure you're aware of all the points and things. But if it's a crazy market out there. I was showing a buyer recently some houses in the 175 range, and we looked at a house in Hopewell that was 178, and it was near the train tracks. And I mean near the train track. We were standing in the driveway when the train went by, and we could feel the ground shake. And there was a crossing about 100 yards down, and it blew its horn. My buyer almost fell on the ground. She was so shocked. All right. And so you're living next to a train track that makes your house rattle, probably a minimum of twice a day. And they were asking 178, and we offered 175. We got outbid with an escalation clause and 2 other offers total of $11,000. She sold that house for $186. And I talked to the realtor, and she's like, Ken, I was afraid to ask 178. I thought I should have asked 170. She said, it's insane what's going on right now, you know? And so be it. But, people are desperate. Once a buyer loses 2 or 3 houses, you hear a lot, well, they're pre-qualified for 250, but they really don't want to spend more than 225. Well, it's, what's happening out there. If the house is in good enough shape and it'll appraise and they're asking 225, you might want to offer them 225 with an escalation clause up to 235, because somebody else is probably going to do it, And if you get tired of losing houses and getting mad about losing houses, well, you got nobody to blame but yourself. If you can afford it, well, then belly up to the bar and do it. And this is how to do that. And how to do it so that you're protected, to make sure you're not being scammed by another agent who says, well, we had another offer that was for 235. So you offered a $500 increment up to the best offer above, up to 240. And so you owe us 235, 500. Well, fine. I want to see it. Well, I can't do that. No. It's in our offer. You got to show us that. All right. And if you can't show us that, then you've taken it at the full asking price, or whatever, or at the price we offer, which is typically in this market is the full asking price. I mean, I don't mind telling you, I mostly list and sell. I don't work with buyers very much. I don't have the patience. I don't mind buyers, and if the buyers are like me that can make their mind up pretty quick, I got no problems with it whatsoever. But when they ask for 3 bedrooms, 2 baths for under $200,000, and you find them 3 that are perfect, and they can't decide if they want to make an offer on either one of them, I mean, do not let me be near a gun. All right. So anyway, I mostly list and sell, and right now, every house or every property I'm listing for $10,000 to $25,000 more than I would have listed that same property for back in March. And it's just, it's just because it's silly, stupid, and it's in my client's best interest. As I say to them, if we're too high, the market will tell us we'll come down. But what's been happening lately, it ain't been too high. We've been getting it. I mean, I listed a property on Sunday that is a delayed showing, going to be start show on the 17th. It's assessed at 185. The comps all say it sell for 190 to 195. We listed it for 219. And I had 8 showing time requests to show it yesterday.
Wow.
And of course, I had to deny every single one of them and then email them, say, please read the MLS listing that says delayed showing will start on Monday the 17th. I will contact you on Friday the 14th and let you know if we're going on the market, if you want to schedule a showing then. But if that initial response is any indication, by the 17th of the month, I'm going to have a showing every half hour on the half hour all day long. And I'll probably have 4 offers at the end of the day. And I guarantee you one of them is going to be full asking price. So
Tim,
it's just, yes.
quick question that just made me think of it. It's not directly related, but we have a new sight unseen addendum. Do you foresee people starting to buy some of those kinds of houses sight unseen because of this insane demand that we're having?
I'll be honest with you. I was surprised I didn't get an offer like that yesterday based on the amount of instant response. I have not used it. I haven't seen that addendum, but you might have somebody who just is that chomping at the bit. I can see inside the windows enough. I can see the outside. I can, there's an old adage in the rental business. You can tell how your tenant is taking care of your house by how well they take care of your yard. If you drive by and they're keeping the grass cut and everything looks neat and clean, well, they're probably doing the same thing inside the house. But if you drive by and the grass is high, needs to be cut, and there's toys and crap everywhere, well, they're probably doing the same thing on the inside of the house. So So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some of that. That might be a topic of a class if it hasn't already been or going to be, you know?
Well, you just covered it nicely.
You know, I mean, so I got into the real estate business because I was a public relations consultant and I did a lot of work in the real estate industry. I did the public relations for Hometown Realty. I did the public relations for the Home Builders Association. I did the public relations for the Virginia Association of Realtors. I put Wyndham on the map. I put Wellesley on the map. I'm the guy who put the bell at the entrance of Twin Hickory. You go out to Twin Hickory and there's that big bell there at the intersection. I'm the guy who put it there. All right. Anyway, and I was doing foreclosure sales. And I'm pretty handy. I was going to buy a foreclosure sale and I was going to fix it up and flip it. And I went to Mike's house one day and told him I was doing that and asked him if he would be my agent, list and sell it when I did it. Because he was a client, I might as well give him some money too. And he said, go get your license and come work for me, you do it. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, your knowledge of the business, your work ethic, go get your license, come work for me and do it. And I sat around that weekend and thought about what he said and said, you know, that makes some sense. So here I am 16 years later. But anyway, in foreclosure sales, you almost always have to buy something sight unseen. You do not have access to get inside. You're peeking in windows, you're pulling tax records, you're talking to neighbors about what do they know about the house, how did the guy take care of it or the woman take care of it before they got kicked out by the bank, and then you base your offers based on that. So I can believe it. You know, so
Well, does anybody have any questions for Ken about the escalation clauses and the multiple offers?
No, thank you for the class. Appreciate it, Ken.
My pleasure. I hope that was helpful to you. I recommend the Hometown Realty form, but depending on where you are and when you are and you just need to do it, just write it into the contract like I did it. It works. I've used both successfully.
Ken, was that form on Instanet, do you know?
I don't know if it was on Instant or not. I know it's in the file drawer upstairs on the second floor of the Mechanicsville office under escalation or escalator clause. And I just went and pulled one, scanned it and sent it to you. You know.
All righty then. Anything else you want to tell him, Ken?
No, have a great day. Go out and work. Go make some calls.
Hey, thanks so much. Great information.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Great, Ken. I enjoyed that.
All right. Y'all take care. My pleasure.
Hey man, I need some help writing up an offer.
Let's do it.
Huh?
Let's do it.
Go get your